Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with my review slash thoughts slash takes on basically two things. It's going to be a double review. I'm going to be taking my take on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire that I just came back from the theaters and I saw, and Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 1, which I just completed on Apple TV, though. And for parents out there, it's worth pointing out that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is rated PG-13 here in the US, while Monarch Legacy of Monster is rated TV-14 here in the US. In regards of Ghostbusters, as far as with the first one with Ghostbusters, in 2021, we finally got what was basically, you could view as Ghostbusters 3 or Ghostbusters 4 if you want to count Ghostbusters the video game, to be exact. This movie came out after kind of most people had very much a controversial view of Ghostbusters Answer the Call that came out in 2016, the all-female Ghostbusters movie, and I understand everyone had different views on it. Some liked it, some didn't. Regardless of what it is, it's your opinion sort of at the end of the day. And when Ghostbusters Afterlife came out in 2021, though, it was actually a very good film for a Ghostbusters film, to be exact. It definitely paid homage to the first one and all, but it was also felt more like an Egon Spangler film, as that film was basically looking at Egon's family, including his daughter, along with his grandchildren, particularly his granddaughter Phoebe, which basically had a little bit of a Egon Spangler inside of her and everything like that. The film did very well at the box office, even at a budget of basically $75 million, though, and it definitely sparked some interest in the Ghostbusters franchise, again, to a certain degree. And I think that I'm glad that film did very well, and there was definitely a lot of fan service for that film. So when it was announced that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was coming out and everything, the sequel to Afterlife, this was one I definitely wanted to watch and take a look and everything like that. And after seeing the movie myself, I will say that I do think Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is a good sequel in my opinion, though. I mean, it's not gonna have the same kind of impact like, say, what Afterlife did, but I still came away, enjoyed what they did with the sequel with Frozen Empire nevertheless. So I'm going to break it down into what I like and what I didn't like, mixed, not 100% sure about. In terms of what I like, I definitely like the darker tone they went this time around with the story and all. It really has to do with like this ancient ghost or ancient being, though, that basically uses ice as a way to sort of bring out, the fear out of people and everything like that, though. It's a really neat idea. Plus, I also like, it basically added a darker tone to the story and everything like that. And that was certainly nice to a certain degree, including Phoebe's interaction with a teenage ghost, though, a teenage girl and everything like that. So it was certainly very interesting. I definitely like the tone to it. I definitely think it was sort of neat they went with this darker tone and everything like that. I also definitely like the next part is I like how it basically feels like the Spanglers, Egon Spangler's family has taken up the mantle of running, the Ghostbusters business, from the firehouse to basically, the Ecto-1, driving that in terms of basically, Phoebe using the proton pack to get some of the ghosts and everything like that, to even their son who has an interaction with Slimer, who finally makes an appearance out. Although I wouldn't mind if Muncher from Afterlife did make an appearance in this. That would have been nice indeed. But still, either way, very happy to see, the family basically take up the mantle and everything like that for the business. Plus, it was also nice to see some of the original cast, such as, basically with, Dan Aykroyd, Anna Potts, Ernie Hustins making an appearance, including Bill Murray's Peter Venkman, which it definitely he still had his charm to it to a certain degree. Maybe not on the same scale as the first one, but still very nice to see those characters and all sort of appear in there. Even the person who played Peck from the first Ghostbusters movie is in it now as the mayor of New York City. So that was pretty neat to see that, including basically even the person who ran the library in the first Ghostbusters movie has basically make an appearance though. So I really like some of the, I like how the Spangler family has taken over, the business to a certain extent, but it's nice to see some of the original characters, from the original Ghostbusters make an appearance in this film. I think that was really neat and all. And last but not least, I did like the fact that they did some callbacks to the Ghostbusters 1 and 2, whether it was showing off, the Statue of Liberty, marching through New York in Ghostbusters 2, to even, references like the old Ghostbusters commercial for like, the 80s, like, the cereal, to the toys and everything like that, to even one scene where they're in the library and Dan Aykroyd's character Ray Spencer sees the ghost library that we may remember that made an appearance in the first Ghostbusters movie, and somewhat played a role in Ghostbusters the video game as well. So really like that callback to Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I really thought that was like really neat in that one. As far as what I didn't like or mixed or not 100% sure about this, I will say Patton Oswald's character, Dr. Hubert Wartzki, if I'm saying the name correctly though, his role was kind of small and somewhat of a disappointment to a certain extent. He only had a minor role where they were looking up sort of find out this information about this ball where this demon was in and everything like that, learning its origin and its history, and sort of finding this chant that was basically used during the opening for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, in terms of like freezing this society that was basically opening this stuff and everything like that. So I was a little disappointed with Pat Oswald's character and all. I'm also somewhat mixed with basically Kumail Nanjiani, if I'm saying his name correctly. His basically the Firemaster character, or descent of a Firemaster character in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It wasn't that I didn't think his character was bad or anything like that. It just wasn't as not as good as it would have been to a certain degree. He did certainly play a certain part, but not really a huge part as I thought some might be. Although his interaction with Peter Venkman was kind of funny. I thought that was a very interesting interaction and everything like that. But I'm kind of mixed on his character and all. Overall, I would say I came away pleased with what I saw with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I don't think it's going to completely overtake Afterlife because of, the whole nostalgic and everything like that, which had a huge nostalgic and everything, but it was still a good movie nevertheless, and I came away pleased with what I saw in this movie. And it's all right at its best. I did like the story. I did like the darker tone to it. I did like the idea of the Spangler family taking up the mantle, and have seen the scenes with some of the former Ghostbusters characters in there, having a bigger scene that they did in Afterlife. And I definitely like the callback to Ghostbusters 1 and 2. But at its worst, at the same time, I was a little disappointed with Patton Oswald's character, and I think Nadeem Razmaadi's character, though, or him, or that character, the Firemaster or something like that, I was kind of mixed with him. So I didn't think he was the strongest character in Frozen Empire. But in either case, I still came away pleased with what I saw. If you enjoyed Afterlife, you'll probably enjoy Frozen Empire. If you're a longtime Ghostbusters fan, I do think you'll probably enjoy this film, though. I do hope it does well at the box office, so we get a third entry. And it remains to be seen if we will, but I mean, it'll be very interesting considering what that movie is going up against, especially with Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire coming out, compared to where it was with Afterlife and everything like that. But in either way, I enjoyed Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Some of this is because I'm a longtime Ghostbusters fan, but I still enjoyed the film nevertheless. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to our part 2, or my second review, and this one will be season 1 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my double review. And for this one, I'm going to be taking a look at Apple TV or Apple TV's Plus Monarch Legacy of Monster. I just finished season 1 and everything like that. So in 2015, we had basically the first entry of what would be the MonsterVerse series, which is the Godzilla film and all. And I sort of came away with this, liked it, and somewhat was mixed in with some of the characters and everything like that. But it was certainly a good Godzilla movie, though, or at least the Western's take on it, compared to the 1998 Godzilla 1 movie done by the folks who did the movie Independence Day. Not that I didn't think everything, not that I'm against Independence Day and everything like that. It just felt like if they had taken the approach of what J.J. Abrams did with Cloverfield, maybe I would have enjoyed that film a little bit more than their take on Godzilla and everything. But in either case, though, the movie did very well at the box office. This would lead to several entries in the MonsterVerse, ranging from Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monster, which unfortunately did not do as well at the box office, even though I did enjoy that film. It also would give us, Godzilla versus Kong, the battle between the two titans or the Kajis. And we have the upcoming Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire. But we also had, some shows that took place within, like, the MonsterVerse, ranging from Netflix's Skull Island, which is somewhat of a sequel or somewhat of a continuation to a certain extent to Kong Skull Island. And then, of course, we have Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, being part of, Apple TV. This was a very interesting one, since basically Monarch was sort of the main, in a way, kind of like what S.H.I.E.L.D. was to Marvel to a certain extent, to a certain degree though, and so it was sort of interesting to see how they were going to do this and all. And after watching the first season, I would say I do enjoy it, but but to a certain extent, and it depends on how you are going to approach this show and everything. So, like with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I'm going to break it down into what I like and what I didn't like, mixed and not 100% sure. In terms of what I liked about the show, I will say I like the idea of them, exploring, the history of Monarch and everything like that. I thought that was a very sort of clever idea for them to do for this show, though, to basically take a look at how Monarch was created and what takes place throughout the entire MonsterVerse and everything like that. So it was really neat that they decided to take that approach, though. They're kind of the good guys and kind of the villains or kind of the anti-heroes, depending on how you want to look at it, though. But I definitely enjoy that idea of them exploring exactly who Monarch is, its history, how it started, and everything like that. So I really definitely like that approach, and I definitely thought it was kind of interesting to see its place in the MonsterVerse and all. The other thing I do like is that I like how it switches during different time periods and all. I mean, it shows basically the show takes place in one part, it takes place after the events of 2015's Godzilla, but it also mentions, the events of, Kong Skull Island, which took place during, the 70s and all. So I like how it's going through, different time periods. And one of the characters called by the name of Shaw, if I'm saying his name correctly, who I think is played by Kurt Russell's son, he sort of is kind of centered around this, including two of the other characters, which I think is Hoshika. I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly and all. Basically, and they're tied to the legacy of Monarch. I definitely like how they show footage ranging from what was shown in the opening of Godzilla 2015 in terms of trying to kill Godzilla with an atom bomb and everything like that. So I like the idea that it explores the different time periods from like the 50s or the 60s to a certain degree. So in the 40s as well. So I definitely like how they go through different time periods throughout basically Monarch's history and everything like that. And I like how it has some ties to 2015's Godzilla and 2017's Kong Skull Island to a certain extent. As far as what I didn't like or mixed or not 100% sure, is this show may or may not appeal to those who are fans of the MonsterVerse. In other words, if you're expecting to see a giant Titan/Kaji fight in this and everything like that, you're probably going to be somewhat disappointed because you're not going to get that, or expecting Godzilla to run rampage through a city or anything like that. You're not going to find that here in basically Monarch or anything like that. While Godzilla does make an appearance in basically Monarch Legacy of Monsters, you don't really see a huge amount of that, though. I mean, the only fight you do see is when it's near the season finale, when they go into sort of the center of the earth to this, like, what could be a dimension between time and space, to see where, you know, the origins of where Godzilla and some of those other Kaiji creatures come from. And he is battling one creature and all, but for the most part, if you're going into this expecting to see a giant Titan fight or, you know, a Kaiji fight, though, you're probably going to be somewhat disappointed if that's what you're expecting to see in Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Overall, I would say I enjoyed Monarchy of Legacy of Monsters. I think it is a good show, especially for those who want to explore a little bit more of the MonsterVerse lore and like the idea of looking through, you know, Monarch's history and everything like that. As its best, though, as I mentioned before, I like the idea of exploring Monarch's history and its place in the MonsterVerse, and I do like the idea how they go through different time periods, especially from 2015's Godzilla to, you know, to exploring, you know, the events of, you know, 2017's Kong Skull Island and everything like that. So I definitely like how it goes through that different time period. But at its worst, if you're one of those expecting to see a giant, like, Kaiji fight, like the Godzilla movies, or how they've been portrayed and everything like that, you might be disappointed with this one because you're not really going to see that kind of stuff, since it's focused more on Monarch's history and all. I mean, as I mentioned, Godzilla does make an appearance in some of the episodes, though, and you do see at least what looks like one Titan/Kaiji fight. But other than that, you're not going to see that much. The show is mostly focused on basically Monarch's history and all. And I think that can be either a good or a bad thing, depending on how you're going into this. I will say, if you're expecting, as I said, those Kaiji battles, you are probably going to come away with the show disappointed. But if you like the idea of exploring a little bit more of the MonsterVerse and Monarch's history, and it's part of the MonsterVerse, I think you will probably enjoy Monarch Legacy of Monster. I am very curious, should a Season 2 happen, how they're going to do like a Season 2 and all. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out should a Season 2 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters happens out. Personally, I would like it for it to happen, but time will ultimately tell or not if that will happen at all in any way. Okay, this concludes my double review on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 1. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Did you see the movie in theaters? Do you think it was a good sequel in any way? Were there things about the movie you liked or you didn't like at all? Do you like the idea of the Spangler family taking up the mantle and basically now running what apparently is the Ghostbusters business and all? And what are your thoughts about Monarch Legacy of Monster? Do you like the idea of them exploring what part Monarch has in the MonsterVerse in any way? Or do you prefer that they had showed more of like the Kaiji/Titan fight that you see in the Godzilla movie or the King Kong movie, to be exact? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!